Hi guys, it's Abigail here again. We're going to dive into another video, which is pretty much me sharing my experience as a sales trader in a bulge bracket investment bank. So I've worked in 2 investment banks over the past 7 years. I have enough experience to be able to share with some of you who are trying to get into trading or investment banking. My experience is limited to working on the trading floor. So I was sales trading equity stocks to my clients. So I would work hand in hand with equity traders. When I say equity, pretty much trading stocks. So I would trade mostly emerging market stocks, but I would need to know all the information around stocks globally to be able to trade. I would pretty much share how a typical day went mostly as a junior person, because I think that will be more helpful towards those who are trying to get into investment banking to work on the trading floor. And then maybe I can add some tips here and there on when you're more senior and stuff like that. But I did share another video earlier about how to nail your career in corporate. And then I use my experience to advise on what I think you need to be doing to get your career to the next level. So let's get into the video. So a typical day started around 6:15 a.m. for me. I will repeat, yes, started around 6:15 a.m. for me. So what I used to do was I used to live 30 minutes away from the office. So I'll usually wake up about 1 hour before the time I'm supposed to be in the office. And for the first 30 minutes, I'm getting ready. So my alarm goes off, I jump out of my bed, get into the shower, brush my teeth, blah, 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 dress up. The first investment bank I worked for, you were supposed to make sure you dress up officially to come to the office. But the next one I worked for, you could dress down any day unless you have maybe client meetings or something for which reason you need to dress officially. So being able to dress down in the next investment bank I worked for was quite nice. So I would make sure I have all my things ready. I used to take my lunch to work. So on my way out, I'll pick up my lunch from the fridge. If I made arrangements for breakfast as well, I'll pick that up. But sometimes I used to get breakfast in the office. So I'll get out of the house after 30 minutes after waking up. And then I'll get on the bus. So I could ride the bus to work given where I was living. So on the bus, I would read all the emails that have come out overnight. And why do I need to read these emails? Because I'm trading global markets. I need to understand what happened in the US equity markets last night, and then what happened in the Asia equity markets when I was asleep, and what's going to happen, and be able to predict what's going to happen in my markets that I'm going to trade for that day. So I would pretty much read through all the market wraps, market commentary, research that has been published by my company or other companies that I have access to their research, and have a view on how the day is going to trade in line with what my clients own. So I would have had clients who own some stocks and what they care about. So when I form opinions about what is going to happen in my equity markets when I wake up, then I can give them my opinions about what's going to happen to their stocks, what they should be aware of, what is not important to them, all that stuff. So by the time I get to the office, I've read through majority of the emails, and I would log on to Bloomberg on my phone to read the market wraps from Bloomberg and also read the stuff that are important to me. Then when I get to the office around 6:15, I will briskly walk up to my desk and start preparing for my morning meeting. So my morning meeting will usually happen at the desk where there is a call that everybody on the floor can listen into. So you can hear yourself speaking on they used to call it a squawk. I don't know what that means, but it's like a call on loudspeaker for everyone. So it will go around each of the desks depending on what they do. So we had emerging markets trading desk, we had developed markets trading desk, we had derivatives markets trading desk, we had futures markets trading desk, we had fixed income, equity, currencies. So we have so many different desks, and they all trade different instruments. So we kind of like have a call amongst all ourselves on our desks where everybody who talks into the loudspeaker, and you can hear it from your phone. So I used to contribute to the emerging markets commentary, pretty much summarizing, because Asia is technically in investment banking considered as emerging markets. So most of the countries in Asia are, funny enough. So then I would have the summary of what happened in Asia. So it's pretty much, I'm asleep. I've not been to Asia before, but I need to master what's going on in Asia so that I can discuss that with my team on the call and give everybody an update on what is relevant in what happened in Asia overnight. So when I get to the desk, I start writing up my notes on what I think is important to summarize. And then the call will usually start around 6:30. So at 6:30, the person who leads the call will usually start off by saying, good morning, we have the S&P trading, blah, blah, blah. We've got futures trading this way. We've got headlines from Trump and from like Asia or Xi Jinping, whatever's going on, like the overall. And then he'll hand over to, let's hear what's happening in Asia. So in that case, I'll go in on the call for everyone to listen and say, this is what I saw happen in Asia. These are the indices that are moving left, right, center. These are the relevant ones. These are the research that we produce overnight that's relevant to maybe other stocks in Europe or other stocks in the US. These are our views, and these are the names that we are active in. So maybe if we are active in buying or selling some significant names, we will mention it so that everybody is aware. So then that call ends when everybody talks about what they're going to do. Then I start writing my morning notes for my clients. So the morning notes will usually be written by the most junior person on the desk, and then it is sent to all the clients of the desk. So our morning notes was very emerging markets focused because we were an emerging markets focused desk. So in that case, we'll start writing our morning notes, and then we will be able to send those out to our clients by between 7 and 7:30. The idea is that majority of the time, everybody on the trading floor is thinking about competition. So competition is what other investment banks are doing. So everybody wants to be the first one to send their morning notes. Everybody wants to be the first one to get to clients, talk to them about what's going on in the markets. Everyone wants to be the first one to have an opinion about something that's happened in the market or some news that has hit. Everybody wants to have an opinion and be the first at it, because if you don't do it immediately or do it early, another person from another investment bank, because there are so many investment banks that service these clients, will call them and pretty much steal your shine. So you're very focused on that. So when your morning note goes out, you start picking up the phones to call your clients. So I had a list of clients. I think my client list up to a point was like about 20 clients. And I know what my clients care about because I've studied them. I know how big they are. I know the traders who work on those client desks. I know what their portfolio managers are looking at. So I do a quick summary. Okay, this client will care about these three main points. This client will care about that and that and that. This client will care about that and that and that. And then between 7 and 7:30, I pick up the phone and I start calling them. So you call them, you make conversation. Hey, how's it going? If it was Monday, you talk about their weekend. If it was, you met them last night, you talk about how great last night was. You talk about whatever you need to talk about. And then you jump into what you have for them. So, hey, I've got these maybe things I'm trading today, or I've got some orders from some clients that are relevant to them. Maybe they want to buy or sell. I've got some news that I think is relevant to them that if they had missed, they should note. And maybe any other important thing that they need to know. So I call my top 5 clients before it hits 8 a.m. because 8 a.m. is when all the markets open. And also you don't want to call a client so close to 8 a.m. because they are now preparing for their day to start in trading. Because if they have orders, you want the orders to be in the market for the opening auctions, because that's how the trading day goes. There's an opening auction, a closing auction to close off the trading day, and the opening auction to open the trading day. So as at that time, everybody's like on the phones talking. It's such a bubbly atmosphere, and you need to get yourself involved. So I do that. The market's open. At that time, I would have received all my orders by calling these clients. If I had orders from the day before, which are still on my pad, I will have it for the new day. So now the market is open, you're monitoring what's going on the markets, and you are making sure that you provide your clients the best quality in terms of taking care of their orders. So there are different ways of trading orders. You can get, if someone is buying, you can try and get sellers on the market to do off-market crosses if it's allowed in your market. If you are trading it just in the market, you know the strategies to use to trade it in the market to make sure the client gets the best price. So you just keep doing that. For the most part, you're just trying to maximize how many orders you have and how efficient you are at managing these orders, because you get paid by how many orders you have. And when I say you get paid by that, for every single $1 million worth of orders I have. So this is an asset manager who sent me an order to buy, let's just use examples, sent me an order to buy $1 million worth of Apple stock. I wasn't trading Apple, I'm just using it as an example so that you understand. That means that if I finish buying the Apple stock, I will make a commission, and the commission will be maybe between 0.1% of the value of the order, all the way up to about 0.5% of the value of the order. So because we are trying so hard to make more money, we will be trying to get bigger value of tickets. So on a normal day, if I get a ticket which the value is like about 1 million, I'm not too excited. I want to get a ticket with a value of about 50 million. I want to get a ticket with a value of about 100 million, because then if you calculate 0.1% of that ticket, it's decent. So if I'm able to execute that ticket on that day, then that commission is attributed to my name. Now that commission doesn't come into my pocket. It goes into the profits of the bank that you work for. But the more you get big tickets and get more commissions, and you're innovative about getting clients to trade with us, then you are recognized and you get paid more when bonus season comes in. So let's say between 8 a.m. when the market opens till about 10, you are actively working orders and trying to get more orders from clients, calling them, sending them updates on Bloomberg, sending them emails. Then around 10, you do like a quick summary of what's happening throughout the day. So as at that time, stocks that are moving. Those are moving significantly. People have started asking questions. Why is this stock moving? What's this precedent say, which is causing this one to move this way? There are so many things that are going on. So at that point, it's nice to put together a very good summary of what's going on in the market, plus what you are trading in terms of what orders you have. Because ideally, when you are buying something and someone wants to sell it, you want to be able to have a conversation with that other client who wants to sell it. So when they see that you've put it on your notes as something you want to buy, they can easily call you and say, hey, I can see you're buying, let's say, Apple stock. I've got some to sell. Do you want to sell it at this price or that price? And then you can execute it. And that's one of the best ways of making money, because now you get the order of the buyer and the seller and make commissions on both sides. So yeah, you get together your morning, your afternoon notes pretty much midday. You start around 10, hopefully you finish before 11. If not, and you are quite busy because you are being distracted by this or that, then you can finish by 12. But you want it to go out before lunchtime, so that people who are going for lunch don't come back and like they are tired, or they've already had their lunch and they feel like, oh my God, can I close for the day already? And you're now trying to get them on stuff that have happened in the beginning of the day. So after 12, you come back to see how your orders are going. So majority of the time, you eat on your desk. There was no time that I worked in banking on the trading floor that I had the opportunity to leave my desk and go and get lunch, or like go and sit somewhere and have lunch. I would go get my lunch from the fridge, because I usually used to bring lunch in, heat it up in the staff room, and then come back and sit on my desk to eat it, because everybody just does that. So when you start going out for lunch, it looks so weird. And also, when you go and get your lunch, somebody is covering your client. So you want to come back and relieve that person so the person can also go for lunch. So you end up eating at your desk every single day. So at this point, I've been sitting at my desk since 6:15 a.m. in the morning and I'm exhausted. But I'm not allowed. I wouldn't say I'm not allowed. I would say that it's not nice to show that you're exhausted. So you get yourself some coffee or some espresso. So people on the floor always do like afternoon coffee. So you'd see one senior person or another person on your desk saying, hey, I'm going to get my afternoon coffee. Do you guys want any coffee? And then if you want some, you can order some and then they'll bring it to you. But if you start getting people to get you coffee, then you need to be aware that you also need to start getting coffee for other people because they're paying for you, right? And it's not nice for you to be just spending someone else's money. So around 2, you continue to make sure you're getting more trades in, more orders in, and you start planning for tomorrow. So you start looking at what has happened today, what are people expecting by the end of the day. So what you'll notice is around 2, the US markets will open. And when US opens, things in Europe that have been trading start reacting differently because maybe there's a stock or company that's linked to a US company. So let's say it's a subsidiary or they all do the same products. So let's say you have an AI company in the European markets, which is trading okay, maybe it's up 2% on the day. And then US opens and the AI companies in US are all falling or they are all tanking on that day because of something that's happened in the US. You'll notice that the AI company in Europe will also start falling. So everybody is usually very attentive when the US markets open, because if you ask me, the US markets really rule. So everybody uses that as a marker on what's happening with the rest of the world. So for the stocks you care about in the US markets, you start monitoring it on your Bloomberg screen. So for me, I had two wide screens, one up, one down, and you're monitoring everything. So like I'll have my order management system on one, I'd have my emails on one, I'd have my Bloomberg monitors on one, and I'll have like my Bloomberg chats on another. And if there's any other application I use for trading and stuff like that, I will have them popping up. So I monitor everything at once all the time. So I'm always alert, my eyes are always wide open, I'm having a headache, whatever, but I'm monitoring it like crazy. Because I can't have a stock I'm trading fall 5% and I have no idea that the stock had fallen 5%. I can't have a stock that I'm trading go up 5% and I have no idea that the stock has gone up 5%. So I need to look at everything at once. Yes. I need to look at everything at once. So you're mostly stuck at your desk. You can't be like, taking 30 minutes to just go and chat. Like, it just doesn't work because the moment you have an issue, and clients are so quick to like tell you off because let's say you have an order for them or they've traded something with you before and the stock is behaving in a way that's a bit abnormal and you did not tell them because to them they've paid you to be their broker, right? So in this case, you want to be on top of everything. And so around that time when the US is trading, you try and make sense of what the US markets are doing and interpret it into your market and have good views on where it's going, where your stocks that you're trading are going, and also views on what the US is going to do. So after that, you would come and notice that we're getting close to the end of the day. So I kind of like round up to see all the tickets I have on my pad and the ones that I can get back tomorrow. So the orders I can get like the remainder tomorrow and continue. Because what happens is because the competition is so tight, if you don't take care, another bank would get a sense that, oh, this client that we all know is buying this stock in large quantities in the markets. Therefore, I will call them early the next day to make sure that I get the order. And it's such a cat and mouse game. We are all pretty much stealing people's orders from different banks. So you have to be investigative. You have to be thinking, hey, I've seen the stock move up 5%. It means that there's a big buyer in the market. Who are the big holders of this stock? Well, it's traded maybe 10 million shares today and only 3 people own more than 5 million shares of the stock. So maybe those 3 people who own it, in terms of like the asset managers who own it, are the ones that are selling. So now you pick up the phone and call them and pretend you are being really helpful or are really helpful to try and see whether they'll tell you whether they are buying or selling a stock. And then hopefully, if they are, you can lure them to give you the order so that even though maybe they were buying or selling this with another broker or another bank, you are going to get the order for yourself, because now you want to get the commissions off of it. So you keep this attitude going the whole day. Then majority of the time after work, which is around 5. So the markets finally close at 4:30 p.m. Then you pack up your stuff, you see what you have for tomorrow, you write down your notes, you write a market summary note, so what happened that day. And then if you've got clients that you have arranged to meet for dinner or for drinks or something of the sort, you pick up your bag and go see those clients. So sometimes I'll make sure I meet clients throughout the year. So let's say I've traded with you for a while, I've got a good relationship with you, I'll meet you for drinks, see what's going on. And most of the time when you meet your clients face to face, you get an idea of what they are doing and how you can, utilize your relationship with them to be able to make more money for your bank. And you get them to trust you more. So we'll usually go for maybe a fancy dinner that the bank will pay for, or we'll go for drinks that the bank will pay for. So whenever you go for these, the bank has given you like a credit card that you can put the bill on, and then you can expense it to the bank that you work for. And then majority of the time, those drinks or dinners should end between 7 p.m. and there are times where I left as late as 11 p.m. Yes. I had woken up and got into work by 6:15 a.m. and as at 11 p.m. I was still entertaining clients. And guess what? The fact that I slept late that day doesn't mean that I get to come in at 7 a.m. the next day. No, I also have to come in at 6:15, ready to roll with all my information that I know from what's happened with the market and my views and everything for the next day. So this happens from Monday to Friday in the office. So during COVID, thankfully, we were able to work from home. But when COVID ended, we were told to come back to the office. So there's no, I'm working from home, I'm chilling out. No. You come into the office, you are switched on from 6 a.m. all the way up to 5. If you have drinks after work, if you have meetings after work, if you have seen clients after work, you are going to be switched on all the way until about 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m. in the evening. And then you can come home and crash and do it again. The difficult part for me was So because I used to trade in major markets, I used to trade Dubai, Saudi, Qatar, as part of the markets I trade. And those markets are open on Sunday. Yes, the day of the Lord. Yes, on Sunday. So I would have to log in on Sunday to trade. That happened for months, actually. But it got to a point I had to discuss with my management team that I am a Christian and I go to church every Sunday. So we need to make other arrangements because now I was working Monday to Friday and working Sunday as well, which was becoming too much. So thankfully, I managed to stop working on Sunday, but unfortunately, someone else on my team had to pick it up and they were very annoyed because they thought I went to tell management that they should be working on Sunday instead of me. But that was my problem. Thankfully, I managed to get Sundays off as well. So I used to be really, really tired on Saturday. Like I would sleep in until like 11 a.m. And I know that's extreme, but if you have been switched on from about 4:45 the night every single morning all the way till about 5 p.m. if you manage to go home without client meetings, or all the way to about 10 p.m., you will be tired. And I was really tired almost all the time. I felt like I was a walking zombie sometimes. Like you can tell that I'm so tired, but I'm trying so hard to keep being switched on and being present in the room because there's no time that you're allowed to say, oh, I'm tired on this trading floor, let me just relax. No, it's not allowed. I'm sorry, you can't be doing that. So yeah, hopefully you understand what you're getting yourself into if you're trying to get into a bank, if you're trying to get on the trading floor. This is not to discourage you. This is to give you a realistic view. The good thing is they pay significantly higher than other corporate jobs will pay. But now, to be honest, tech people are paying similar salaries. if you guys are interested, maybe I can do a video about how much I got paid and all that stuff. But it depends on if I get enough comments in the comment section asking for that. And then I can put together some figures or like ranges of how much you should be expecting to get paid. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what else you want to hear about, and I'll do a video about it. Catch you later.